Okay, so this is Shrapnel Sentinel. I'm just gonna put it on full screen. Training. Okay, so weapon jumping. Okay. I don't know, but I think the game sort of reminds me a bit of Ultra Kill, at least so far. Okay. The jumping is, I think, a bit interesting. It's if you ever played Team Fortress 2, I think it's a bit like the original Rocket Jump. Honestly, it feels good. Only thing is that I feel like you don't have a lot of control on a lot of air movement like in Team Fortress 2. But I think it's just a different system. I kind of like it. But so far, I think the art style is pretty good. It also gives me a bit of pseudo regalia vibes. Okay, so we get their weapon, and I don't know, but these guys are like look like little antennas. So I guess that you need to defend the tower in the middle. Honestly, I think the shotgun is pretty cool. Feels nice, but the laser gun, I think it's better at longer ranges. There's like so many bombs in there. I honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the sound design so far, but like it's like too crunchy for my taste. But weirdly enough, I feel like it fits into the game. So I still feel like the laser gun is a bit more powerful. Like there, like here. I feel like if I just use the laser gun, it'll have been a lot easier. Also, the weapon jump feels a bit weird, but I think it's more like getting used to it. So I think that you get like a power up from that. I'm guessing because my weapon is a lot more strong now. Also, the cool thing that I really like is that if you jump in a direction, you sort of like move a lot faster. So it's I think the movement is great. I'm just not a big fan of the weapon jump, but honestly, I think that's more of a personal preference thing. Oh, okay. And you unlock a new sequence as well. Do you know? Do you know what the little guys look like? They sort of look like lanterns that are just moving around. But I kind of like them. Honestly, I like in every game. I like the shotguns a lot. It it's like they're very decent against the close range enemies. But those guys just like being kamikaze near the tower in the middle. So I think the strat is basically focus the guys that are destroying the tower. Then after that, you focus like everyone who's following you. So those hands are terrifying. So I think that you need to focus on first on the enemies that are destroying the tower. Then after that, you focus on like everyone else who's following you. I don't know why, but it feels like the hands never get to catch you. So I think it's a bit obvious that those guys sort of like are immune from the back. Okay. Honestly, I wonder if I can use the bombs there to kill those guys. Yeah, they are very powerful, and I feel like you might need to force them down just to kill them quickly. Yeah, apparently pressing R doesn't reload, but I mean the weapons have infinite. Basically, the weapons have infinite ammo, and pressing escape also just straight up sends you into the main menu. One cool thing I wanna point out is that I like that the colors of the stage sort of change depending on the intensity. Honestly, I feel like like I still like the shotgun more, but I feel like the laser is just a better weapon. So the red dogs and the faces basically just tunnel vision the tower a bit. So I'm guessing it's like the enemies you have to take out first. So there I got like a really good weapon jump. Like I landed exactly where I wanted to land. So I think there's a bit of like help you get if you're in the middle of the tower that like attracts you into the item that's in there. I think that's pretty a nice quality of life thingy. Only thing I find, at least so far, is that you really don't need the weapon jump as much. Like it feels like you could just complete the whole game without the weapon jump. Also here, I think it's just best to force these guys down. Every shotgun in every game, it's the best just aim at the center of mass in the body. So maybe I can use the bombs to burst them also. But honestly, this seems like the best way just so they don't insta kill your tower. So you get the power up for the shotgun. I'm just gonna say it. I think that those faces sort of kamikaze into the tower. I think there should be an indicator because it's hard to tell when it's a bit hard to tell. Uh, it's a bit hard to tell when they're actually gonna go into like destroy your tower. I'll just say that I like the design of the enemy so far. I like the hands. I think the first guys, the antenna robots, are pretty cute. And here I basically get sandwich between the waves of enemies. And I think I'm dead. Okay, I really like the shotgun power-ups. So honestly, it just feels like do more damage and do more damage. How did you even get that many points? So I think Amber was doing basically the same. Only thing I feel like I don't understand quite correctly is that the enemy sort of like explodes. Oh, I guess that's why it's called shrapnel. They explode into shrapnel. But I'm not sure if it like actually hurts you. Also, there I was trying to like weapon jump backwards, but I feel like it should propel you a bit at least, like give you a bit of speed, maybe. Yeah, those hands really insta kill you. I see why it's a bit hard for them to catch catch up to you. To be honest, I really like the game. Sort of like it feels like you can make it sort of those games where you just play and mindlessly destroy enemies. But I will say at least that the enemies feel a bit spongy, where you just keep shooting them and they take some time to die. I mean, I think it's normal since I'm using like the level 1 laser weapon. But I feel like maybe it will be cooler if, for example, you started shooting the enemy and like the enemy, instead of like the enemy just randomly exploding, the enemy had like phases where it's like new and damage and stuff. So, for example, with the phases that attack the tower, they could look a bit broken when you're about to defeat them, because it just feels like you shoot, and you don't know if they're gonna explode or what, or if you. Also, it's a bit unclear, for example, with those phases, if they actually hit the tower or if you actually destroy them. Especially when it's like when a lot of times you see those faces, it's like they're very close to like destroying the the tower. So it's hard to tell if they're actually like hitting the tower or just exploding because of the bullets. Also, I have no idea what the two in the screen does. I think the game feels very fluid so far. I just feel like you can do more with the weapon jump. Like honestly, you most of the time you're just running in circles, like jumping around in circles, and maybe it's how we play, but honestly, it just feels like you only run around in circles the whole game. So maybe add like a platform where you can stand up. You can get maybe something like powers or something, or enemies that are on the platforms and you need to use your weapon jump, or even something more cool like enemies that are actually platforms and you need to jump on top of them to destroy them. Also, one criticism is that I'm not sure if there's only two sequences, but I feel like I should have unlocked the third sequence by now, because it's like literally the first level. It's like 5 minutes and you unlock the second sequence. But with here, you basically destroy the shield guys, and they are like, and I feel like if you destroy them, you should at least unlock the next sequence, in my opinion, because it's like, oh, they maybe it's just the skill issue, but I feel like those are the main bad guys, like the main the main thing of this level. Sort of like you're the thing you're building towards. So I think that not being able to progress to the next sequence sort of feels a bit unrewarding, especially when you have to, especially when you need to start the whole level again. I'll say if that's the case, at least make it so there is a bit more enemies at the start of the sequence, and you can randomize them. So sometimes you get like an enemies, one type of enemies. The other time you get other type of enemies. Also, wow, the hand just got me because it feels like through most of this playthrough I've just done the same thing over and over again, like just running away from those red guys and destroying the dogs. So honestly, I still don't have any idea how the life system works. So it's a bit hard to tell how much the tower, how much damage the tower has taken, or if it even like regenerates health. Because it's like so left is my health bar, but honestly, I cannot tell if it's shared between me and the tower, or if it's like just mine. Also, one thing I want to say it's pretty cool is that you can sort of see the green glow of the health, so that way you can even if you're shooting, you can sort of tell that there's some health in there. Also, I know that you can sort of tell that the tower is a bit destroyed, but I feel knowing knowing exactly how much health the tower has could be a lot better, because it's like what's the point if you sort of what's the point if you're not even able to tell how much health the tower has. So that way you can, for example, prioritize the player health or the tower health, right? So my guess is that you should always prioritize the tower, because the tower is sort of like if it's destroyed, it's game over. And so far, I don't think it has any regeneration. But I feel like it will be good for the tower health to be more clear, because that way you could sort of prioritize player. You could be more reckless. You could be more reckless, and for example, I feel it would be an idea to add like a weapon or a melee attack. So, for example, if the tower is very low health and you have a lot of health in your character, you can just, I don't know, use a weapon that sacrifices health and you get more damage, right? Or like a melee thingy where you have to be really close to the enemy and just one shot them, right? But that way you could that way it's an idea to sacrifice health, your own health, for the protection of the tower. Or there could be like cases where you just want to save life and the tower is like full HP, so you can just you can just focus on your own health instead of the tower. So I'm just gonna say it. I think the hands are. I like the concept of the hands, but I feel like you should be able to shoot them more because, or maybe it's a skill issue. But I feel like the window for the shooting the hands it's just a bit small, especially with the shotgun. Do you know? So I think my major thoughts about the game, my main, so I will say that I think that you have something good going on here. Like for example, you know what? Basically, no. Nothing teaches you about the jump boost where you keep jumping and boosting, but figuring out it's sort of mandatory. I like that where because the game it's not super handholdy, but I also think that it could it could benefit a lot from just a bit more clear tower health and maybe a way to sort of a way to prioritize like tower health over player health. And even then, I feel like I should have unlocked sequence 3 by now, but maybe it's just maybe there's just two sequences. Also, yeah, I know it's like a massive skill issue, but even then, it doesn't make sense that the sequence 3 is not unlocked by now. I'm just like doing the same thing over and over again. Also, I will say that I think it will be an idea to have more variety for like the weapon jumps. Sort of like more places to use them. Even then, I feel like experimenting with like something like wall jump with the weapon could be pretty cool. Sort of like having a weapon that lets you boost on the walls or whatever. I know that it could break the game, but I feel like that might be a direction to take because it's like why go out of the way to introduce the weapon jumps if they're not gonna be like super used, you know? And so far, I like it. I like the design of the enemies. I feel like having three type. For example, the enemies are sort of evolution of each other enemy, but I feel like that also makes the enemies feel a bit samey. I mean that for example, you're always gonna have like dogs, like flying hands and stuff, and like the fans, right? So maybe there could be a bit more variety on that because they're like evolutions of each other. They they basically like feel a bit samey, you know. Also, another thing is that I feel like it will be a nice quality of life feature um to have basically to be able to have the same button on multiple keybinds. So, for example, here I put my mouse wheel as jump. That's like pretty common in games where you have to jump a lot. But I'd like to have that plus like the space button, you know. So that way you can sort of spam jump and and focus more on the shooting instead of like jumping constantly. Or if you want to make it like super friendly for users, just make it like if you hold space you jump automatically. But honestly, I feel like that takes a bit away from the skill of the game, you know. But yeah, multiple keybinds will be a good idea. Also, I feel like if you don't want to use like any text in the game, that's fine. But making it a bit clearer when you pick something up, what it is. Like only issue I have is between the shotgun power ups and the laser power ups. Other than that, I feel it's fine. But I don't know when the laser power ups are when I have a laser power up and a shotgun power up. Also, it's a bit hard to tell that you took a power up on the shotgun. Like it only changed the sprites a bit, but like the shooting a bit, but it doesn't actually change the like how like it's hard to tell the weapon is power up basically. So you can make it like I don't know, like glow or maybe I just didn't pay attention, but I feel like the power ups could feel a bit more powerful. So I think that's all I have to say about the game. I really like the style. One thing is that I think the sounds can be a bit too much. Like they're supposed to be crunchy, but sometimes when you're shooting multiple stuff, the sounds sort of like overlap each other. So I think I had it happen the most with the dogs and like the laser weapon. Also in the menu, I feel like there should be a bit of a cooldown between the sounds as well. But other than that, I like the. At least so far, I've liked the levels a lot. The second level, I think it's like where the game sort of truly starts like developing. Like here, like in this part, for example, I think it's cool that you have to use a different strategy. Also, I like that you can use the bombs to basically just destroy these guys as well. So even if you don't use the strat I'm using here, you can, for example, use the bombs. And I feel, I think you can also use the hands to destroy the enemies. Only thing is that it's a bit unclear when those guys are like shooting at the tower or what makes them stop shooting at the tower, right? So far that's all my criticisms of the game.